for your engagement. Oh, thanks for recording. I'm currently hosted at Palomar College. We understand how challenging it had been for a lot of educators and even college admins to move courses online. So we are hoping to use this platform to share best practices. And we also understand that advanced manufacturing is predominantly hands-on. So anyone who is on the line, if you're open to sharing, we would love to hear from you. How have you been able to transition successfully? So our goal today is really to update and provide some sort of resources and to continue educating ourselves and also improve student success through monthly engagement. We're hoping this is a monthly engagement, and of course, per your request, if you think this is more beneficial, if we go towards a bi-weekly one, we can also do that. To be respectful of everyone's time, we will follow the agenda that's being shown on the screen very closely, and I want to apologize in advance if we have to kill anyone during the discussion just to go to the next topic. Before we go into the agenda items for today, I want to introduce my colleague, Monica Rosas. Monica.
Hi, everyone. My name is Monica Rosas. I'm with the San Diego and Imperial Community Colleges Regional Consortium. Rushan and I work together specifically with the advanced manufacturing sector. So we want to bring these skilled trade discussion forums to you, like she said, on a monthly basis. We'll do a poll at the end of today's agenda to see if you guys do want it monthly or bi-weekly. To be mindful, like Rushan said, of everyone's time, we're going to skip introductions because we do have a somewhat large group. We thank you for being here. So if you could just write your name, email, school, and the programs you teach in the chat box, and then that way we can send you updates and meeting invitations. Thank you. Giving it back to you, and I'll stop my share, Rushan.
You're on mute, Rashawn.
Oh, thank you, Tony. Thank you. I'm talking to myself. Thank you, Monica. So I'm going to share some of my resources. Some of you have already seen this, so bear with me. I'm hearing some background noise. So if some of you could mute yourself for now, thank you. Okay, so some of you must have seen this. This is our CACT website, Centers for Applied Competitive Technologies. And Alan Braggins, our sector statewide director, has been really great at putting all of the resources we have into this website. And you can find almost everything that you want. And we are continually adding stuff onto this website. But one forum that I really want to share with all of you is this one, the Communities of Practice. If you click on this link, it's going to open up this Manufacturing Educators Online Resources Forum. It's actually a forum that was created by my counterpart in the Bay Area, Mark Martin. Not sure if you're on the call today, but thank you. So he created this, and then we have been sharing this throughout the state. And as you can see, it's really to promote collaboration and promote a lot of, sharing of best practices. From here, you can look at the general discussion that we have, previous webinar recordings, and all of the online resources that you can find. I'll just give an example. So let's say if I go into CAT or CAM, I can pick a topic. These are some of the hot topics, that the educators have been talking about. So let's say if I click on Fusion 360, which was from Autodesk, you will find some information there, like what Mark had been partnering with. Dee from Autodesk is providing folks an alternative if you don't have a Chromebook. How can you access this kind of software? So this is really a very interactive platform for you to find resources. The next one is San Diego COE, Center County of Education. So they have been very good at putting all this information for us. So CTE, sector collaboration and informational meetings. On this website, Google Doc, you will find all kinds of information. You know, one that particularly pertains to us is the manufacturing and product development. They are going to have a weekly state webinar on Thursday at 3:30. And there's also engineering and architecture over here on Thursday. So this is something that, you know, has been going on for our San Diego Imperial region. And of course, we will send you more information after that. Let me just put this down. Okay, the next one is this one. So this is college and career readiness. It's regarding work-based learning and CTE resources. And then of course, you can feel free to go out there and then look for your own information. There's another one, which is distance learning resource or opportunities for CTE and to support career readiness. This is also developed by the San Diego County of Education. They have so much resources that you can look at. You know, there's information about COVID, offline resources for CTE. Tibet Global, who has been the one creating all this, could not join us today, but really thank you to them for creating all these resources for us. And then the next one, this one is something that I think most of you have already seen, ctonline.org. So you can sign up for your account today, and then there's so many projects, lesson plans, and resources that you can use for your classes. What else? This one is next. So this is a crowdsourced document, CTE resource and ideas by sector to support distance learning. So this is the whole list. You know, there's all kinds, there's all 15 sectors for K-12. And they are always updating this page. So feel free to go have a look. Okay, and this one is COVID-19, SDCOE, the latest on COVID-19. And I know some of the college and schools are already planning for reopening. So really looking forward to hearing what some of you have been able to come up with, especially for hands-on courses. So that's all I have for manufacturing resources. And we will definitely send all this information to all of you. And the next topic that we want to go into is really the success, challenges, questions, and concerns. So some of the common challenge that I've heard is really about students only having Chromebooks and not being able to go, you know, download some software. So that's one of the most common challenges, but I really want to hear the successes and challenges that all of you have. So now I'm opening to everyone to talk.
Awesome.
I hear someone talking.
Hi, Rajan. This is Sergio Hernandez, Palomar College, Diesel Technology.
Hi.
Yeah, just very quickly, successes. Interestingly enough, I was able to maintain literally our complete class, which was interesting. Yeah, the successes are, yes, they're staying, and obviously they want to finish their course, but the challenge, just like you said, is the technology, and that's the big thing, the big issue. And one of the issues that I've had to contend with is not just the technology, but also, they have technical issues with their electronic devices, and of course, they really can't turn to anybody. So that, like an IT resource of some sort. That's one. And the second one, of course, is like you were saying, resources. Resources are kind of scattered, and of course, in such a short time frame, it's definitely more of a hodgepodge. But overall, yes, it's created some new ideas. And also, of course, the challenge is how do you, how do you finalize these things? Because unfortunately, the hands-on portion is hands-on. There's just things that you can't get away with. You just have to do it. Skill-based, skills is skills. The skill is gained by practicing your craft.
Agree. Yeah, that's one of the very common, challenges that we've heard so far. So if any one of you want to chime in on how you have been able to, overcome that, please feel free to chime in.
We do, sorry to interrupt, we do have a comment on the chat, Rushan, from America's Finest Charter School. They're saying that lack of technology and computer skills from students.
Great, thank you.
Rashawn, at the college level, this is Mike Basting. It appears to me that each college is assessing what labs need to take place, whether it be nursing, welding, CNC, and they're justifying it. There's committees being formed, mostly faculty, and there are committees being formed to assess which absolutely need lab competencies based. Now on the K-12, I'm not sure how they're addressing that, or if it's that big of a demand versus the colleges, but it seems to be college by college, curriculum by curriculum.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Rashawn, also one thing going forward, the labs, that's great. But also, depending on how much real estate you were given, if we're going to continue with the social distancing and stuff, so you think about this, if you have 20 students and now you have to provide 6 feet in between, so now you're producing 6 square feet. So how much square footage is that? If most of the schools and programs have been built under the old assumptions, you only get X amount of square footage and so on and so forth. So now this just really changes the dynamic totally.
I agree. I've heard of some other schools, they were thinking, even companies, they are doing staggered schedules, only having certain number of employees or students at a time. But of course, this is going to take up so much of the instructor's time. We actually, Monica, if you remember, we actually had a discussion with one of the professors in his track, and he teaches industrial engineering. So a lot of CNC welding. What she told me that one of the successes was really taking videos of labs, of how to machine something. In fact, they would take repeated videos of them doing something wrong and have the students give feedback on, oh, what did they do wrong and how can they fix their problem. But of course, one of the downsides is you really need to hone that craft by actually doing. So I did ask her, what can we do about that one? She said that, when schools, possibly they're gonna have their students set up time with the instructor to allow them to come into the shop to practice what they have learned. So, but that's gonna take up a lot more time, of course, and resources. Thank you, Sergio. Any more? Oh, I see some comments at the chat.
Yes, so I can read them. Eduardo from America's Finest Charter School wrote, no real hands-on activities. We've been able to do quite a few simulations, but it doesn't fulfill the physical aspect of it.
Yes. Okay.
And then Kao, Regional Director for Life Sciences and Biotechnology, wrote, the biggest concern from lab faculty is the ability to assess and evaluate safety and SOP compliance.
Kaya, would you mind expanding on that? Hi, Kaya.
Yeah, hi, Rashawn. Sorry, I had to get off of mute. Yeah, so the lab faculty statewide, they've been working with Labster and other there are other instruments for virtual learning. The issue is that you can send home PCRs, you can send home Petri dishes, any type of equipment, but you're not able to evaluate proper techniques as far as aseptic processing, as far as chemical hazardous materials. You wouldn't send home chemical hazardous materials to people as well, but they just can't monitor their working techniques and environments. And that's really important, especially with our clinical staff, you know, the medical lab technicians, some of our folks that work in BSL-2 hoods, where they might have to deal with some sort of infectious disease. Sorry?
Okay. Did someone say something? No, I think it was just noise.
Yeah, and so that's it. That's the biggest part, because they're just, you know, remote working. So for a student to be that early on in learning techniques has just been pretty hard for some of our hands-on faculty.
Right. And difference, I mean, I myself, I'm a hands-on person. If I don't actually do it, I don't really understand it. Thank you for that feedback. What about engaging students? You know, I've heard, you know, statistic like only 50 or 60% of their students are engaged. Some of them don't respond. Have you guys had those kind of challenges?
I've heard that in my region, where it's, I would say it's about that percentage, and those that do come on to the online forum, they either come in late and leave early, or they stay on but they're not really there. And so the level of participation, the quantity and the quality of participation has gone down, it seems like, in the online forums versus in person.
I see. Yeah. I do have a question. Maybe this is just me. Maybe this is not okay to propose. I wonder if teachers can make it mandatory as part of the course objective to make sure that students attend a percentage number of classes or be engaged in discussion with their peers. Or is this not okay at the education level?
No, Rashawn, you're really hitting on a point here, because as we roll into fall, we're going to have to all have our syllabi updated for all of our courses to include the engagement portion and what is required. I know Sergio has a contract with his students that he performs at the beginning of each semester. This is a concern, and I think we should have some kind of a committee, if not just a few people put their heads together about some good firm rules that we're going to go ahead and try to accommodate, so we have some consistency.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Anyone?
Yeah,
Yes. Oh, go ahead, Jennifer. Anyways, Roshan, and that's the thing. I mean, there again, it involves technology and time and resources. And if we're going to be online, I mean, one of the things that would be great if you know, yes, obviously we need access to facilities to create and generate our videos, post them, upload them, create assignments, and then of course set it up in a way where it's how do you say, measured, as Tony said, and graduated in the sense that, okay, until you actually view this video, do this exercise, take this quiz, once you do that, then you can move on to the next phase. Versus, you know, participation, like Mike was saying, you know, they're there, but they're not there, and they leave early. So they're, you know, to be perfectly honest, there is no, the instructor doesn't really have 100% positive control of his class.
Nope. Nope. Yeah, and I guess for me, I take online classes too, and the only way my professor has been able to get us all engaged is to make sure that we actually prove that we have been interacting with our classmates, and posting our discussion by a certain number of days. So yes, thank you, Sergio. That was helpful. And I do have some comments on the chat. Monica, I just want to make sure I don't miss any. Is it Poway? Joe Austin. Joe, hi. So Joe Austin from Poway Unified CTE, he mentioned that CTE teachers have been pleasantly surprised by student engagement. It's my opinion that the toughest part of this distance learning transition was the ramp up. Now that we're underway, we've had a chance to resolve tech or access issues. Our teachers report that engagement has soared. Oh, wow, that's great. That's great. I don't know if you want to share what did you guys do specifically?
Well, Rashawn, we, like every district, I think the initial part of this was, can we mobilize food services in a safe way to feed families? And then it was really about technology access for students who didn't have sufficient technology to engage. And particularly in our career technical courses, that many of which, Chromebook won't do it. We spent the first several weeks trying to get those situations squared away. But from that point forward, I think our teachers were already really capable users of technology, and so are our students. And so it ramped up very quickly. And now we're really starting to see some uniquely online lesson development and levels of engagement that I wouldn't have predicted 8 weeks ago. For me, I think as a parent of school age kids too, the real balancing act of, providing enough to meet standards without overwhelming kids and parents is probably the next thing we need to get good at.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. That's very helpful. And students with IEPs and special needs are the most at risk. May I clarify what is IEPs? Sorry for my ignorance.
That's an individualized education program.
Okay. Individualized education.
It would be like, sometimes it's, for instance, the DRC at Palomar, where there's different kinds of accommodations that need to be made for those students.
Mm-hmm.
Sean?
Okay, thank you, Suzanne. That was Suzanne, right? Suzanne.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So based on all these feedback, we're gonna try to find resources. And if anyone already, who haven't spoken up and you have resources to share, please send them my way and Monica's way. Then we can just send it out to everybody. Okay, it's 3:25. I wanna be making sure that we are cognizant of everyone's time. So, okay, thank you so much for your feedback and your comments. The next one is distance learning tools. We've been very lucky to have 2 guest speakers with us today. So the very first one is Lely. Lely is the president and co-founder of eGrowth Education. She's also an associate teaching professor at UCSD. So Lely, their team has been able to create an app called Spatial Viz. And for me, I'm addicted to it. Look at this. Can you guys see my phone? I've been playing.
That's great.
Yeah, it's all about CAD drawing. I know some of you are not in CAD, but bear with us for 15 minutes. You can go do something and come back in 15 minutes. We'll talk about something else. But Lely, I'm going to give it the screen to you to share.
Okay, but before those people who are not interested in CAD go away, the spatial visualization app is not just for CAD, it's to teach spatial skills, which is really important for all science, technology, engineering, and math fields. And so stick around because it is a fun and engaging app, and it's very useful for many students. So Thank you for having me. I just want to give a little background. My name is Lely Vandeneinda, and I think I'm talking to San Diego and Imperial Valley people, and I'm a San Diego native, so it's great to talk to my community. I'm a professor of structural engineering at UC San Diego, and I teach our freshman level CAD class, and my colleague in mechanical engineering and I, about 5 or so years ago, started doing research in the area of spatial visualization. And to make a long story short, we now have this startup company where we've developed an app to teach 3D spatial visualization skills, and specifically and through hand sketching. So using tablets, like touchscreen based devices, so that students can sketch things. Because so I'll get into a little bit about that. I have a quick presentation to share, and I also have the app to demo. So I'll try to get through this as quickly as possible. So let me try to share my screen. I'm actually showing too much here. Let's see. Okay, so present. Can you guys see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you. So here's my contact information, and I can also put it in the chat, like my email address and how you can get in touch with me after this if you'd like. You can download this app right now for free, but you only get some minimal access to the grading, and I'll talk about it. So if you want full access to this app, please send me an email and I will get you a free teacher account. So I just wanted to make that note later. So I'm going to just introduce the app and a little bit about what we cover in the app, and some best practices for implementation. And if we have time, I'll get to the free teacher account, but I can also email that to you individually when we get there. So I have this movie, and it has kind of an annoying song. Rushan knows about it, but it will just give you a quick overview, and then I'll talk about the app. So let me just, I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear the sound of it. Okay, so that's just a little kind of promo video, but I want to give a little background about what we're doing here. For those of you that teach CAD, or you recognize that the ability to rotate objects in your mind is extremely important in terms of getting students to understand CAD and being able to go from 2D to 3D and back to 2D again. And there's been a longitudinal study in the research that has shown that the actual act of sketching also is very important in teaching these spatial skills. And we don't normally teach spatial visualization directly or sketching in K through 12. It's sort of becoming a lost art. Even at the college level, we don't spend time doing a lot of the hand sketching, although some of you probably do, which is fantastic. And that's why I'm talking to you, because you understand the importance of it. There's been challenges so far, like in my own institution, we took away the drafting classes because we just don't have room in the curriculum anymore. As we get more advanced finite, like analysis tools and things like that, we have to teach them other concepts. And so the solution that we propose is this sketching app on touchscreens. And it's extremely good for our current situation, like remote learning, because it's available on iPhone and Android, Apple and Android phones and tablets, and advanced Chromebooks that have touchscreens and stuff. So it's very useful for our current situation. So I'm going to actually stop sharing this and actually share my my screen. Oops, hold on 1 second. So We'll get into the spatial viz app. And so you've already sort of seen the interface, but there's different modules. The first one, and I'm sorry that it's already starting on the beginning, but it's the intro module, and it shows about the different buttons and features, and talks about a reward system that we have, because we're trying to encourage students to try without hinting or peeking. What we found in the past was that students, if they had the ability to peek at the solution, some of the students were not very persistent, and they would just peek before they even tried anything. So obviously they didn't learn anything because they weren't struggling a little bit with it. And so we now have encouraged this STAR system to try to get them to try their best before taking a hint or peek. And since doing that in our trials in classrooms, we've seen a huge amount of the low performing students who are not as strong as spatial skills actually improve tremendously in their spatial skills. And so we have this STAR reward system. This talks about the grading algorithm and what the hint and peek actually constitute. And we keep improving the type of feedback we give now for hint and peek. And then it gets into teaching you how to, and this one's already been done. So it teaches you how to draw things. So for example, if in the upper right-hand corner, you're supposed to draw what looks like a 2x2 cube, and you start at the yellow dot, and you can draw, I'm gonna make a mistake purposely. See if anyone can figure that out. So I drew my, my object, and I'm gonna submit it, and it's gonna say, okay, 40, gives me some hints, like some of your solution lines are incorrect. And so what we want the students to do is retry this again and again and again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to peek at the solution, and you're going to see that the green part are the correct lines, the red parts are incorrect, and the blue is actually what's missing. And so now I've lost 2 stars, and I can continue and redraw some of these things and erase. So the 2x2, so I'm gonna go ahead and erase. Oops. And you want to make sure you get rid of these things, go back to the pencil, and then I can finish up my drawing and then submit it. And it says, great job, 1 star, because I took a hint already, or a peek. So that's just the introductory one. We have all sorts of different modules. It starts easy. We scaffold with 2D rotation. So these are just like, let me get to a different one. These are just rotating certain objects about a point. So for example, if we want to rotate the object in the top right-hand corner, 180 degrees about that point, you need to draw the final resting point. So it ends up being, let's see, on the end. I'm going to have to, anyone think that that's correct? We'll submit it and see. Great job. So we get to move on. So that's 2D rotations. We get into some of the material related to 2D and 3D objects in this ISO cubes. We actually, in the upper right-hand corner, it's a plan view that shows that's what, it gives you the number of cubes high. So that indicates that we want to draw a 2x2 cube in an isometric. So it ends up being something where you have to draw the 2x2 cube. And you can see I can be a little bit sloppy and it still works, okay? And then you get to some harder ones where you might draw some very random things. This happens to be 1 all the way around. So if I submit it just in peek, you'll see that's what it's supposed to look like. So those are called ISO cubes. And we get into, let me go back to the beginning of this. We get into teaching them about 2D, starting with an isometric and how you draw the right, front, and top views. And so we talk a little bit about hidden lines and miter lines and how to draw things, and then we scaffold them. We get from easy to hard, and eventually they get to something where they have to draw, let's say, the front, side, and top view of this one. I'm just going to hit submit just so you guys can see what it ends up looking like, basically. And you can pan and see what the solution is supposed to look like. So that's going from 3D to 2D views, orthographic projections, and then we go the other way around where we actually give them the 3 orthographic views, and they have to draw the corresponding isometric. So those of you that teach CAD know all of this. You probably teach some hand sketching related to this. But the benefit to the app is that it can be done remotely. It gives them, you don't have to grade it at all. It gives them automatic feedback. They're able to retry the assignment as many times until they get it. And it's very engaging and students actually love playing with it. So I won't go through the rest of the modules, but they do get into, like, one of our most challenging ones is rotating objects about 2 axes. So they first have to take this first object, rotate it about the blue axis first. So in this case, about the Z axis, and then about the Y axis, and draw the final solution. And this one's quite challenging for them to mentally do this in their own minds. So I'm going to again stop sharing that and go back to my presentation, although, where is this? So I don't have to talk a lot about this. I already talked about sort of the grading algorithm and the different modules. So let me get past this. I guess I could, if anyone's interested, right now we're offering the app for free to anyone who wants to try it because of COVID, and we want teachers to have some resources to them, especially for CAD type classes or even any kind of hands-on class, because the spatial skills are extremely important. So if you're interested and want to get your students this app, I'll make sure that they share instructions about how to get access to it and how we can create a class for you. Again, I just want to talk about promoting persistence. It's really important to get them to keep trying it before taking a peek, because they won't learn anything if they just peek. So that's just one of our mottos. We do have some lectures available that you can refer students to, or you can download and use the lectures yourself, and some hands-on activities, which usually we do in the classroom, but so it's not something that you can do so easily with remote instructions, but we do offer some hands-on activities to go along with our curriculum. And so this is the information about the free teacher account, but I promise you I can actually put it in the chat. When we're done here, I'll just stick all this instruction in the chat and you guys can go back and find the invite code. Or like I said before, you can email me if you would like access to the app or to get more information about it. So again, we're offering it for you guys to use it the rest of this semester through maybe the summer. And then, let us know if you're interested. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me right now.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Larry?
Yes,
I will
Lily.
share. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sergio.
Oh, yeah, how you doing? Yeah, Lily, this is Sergio Hernandez, Palomar College Diesel Technology, and I just got a whole brainstorm here. Number one is your app, can it be embedded or work with a learning management system is my first question.
Okay.
Second question is, I noticed that you have the cube and the steps there. Could any other image be put in there?
Yeah, so, okay, those are both very good questions. So if we create a course for you, then you will have, as a teacher account, you will have access to your student data, and you can download the CSV and easily import it into a number of learning management systems. So you'll get the data, and we can, show you when we can talk to you about what's a good way to grade their completion in the app. And a lot of it is tied to the number of stars they earn, because that will encourage persistence and things like that. But yes, there will be, it's not automatically integrated into the Canvas or Blackboard, but you could definitely download the data as a CSV and easily upload it into your grade book. Related to your second question, which was automatically ingesting your own curriculum, this has been a request that we've gotten from a number of teachers, but at this time it's not a feature that's available, but it's something we're working towards where the problem with that is that the grading algorithm that we customly design requires, we're working to see how we can get teachers to submit their own curricula, but they would also have to submit the images of the correct grading algorithm. And if we want to provide more meaningful hints, we would want them to also submit images of common incorrect solutions, so that we could give students, if they do a sample, like let's say they draw something and they rotated it the wrong way, and we know that's a common occurrence, then we would have that already as a preset common misconception that we could provide some more meaningful hints to. So it's a great idea, but we don't have the mechanism yet to automate that process. It still requires hard coding in the back end for us. So.
Okay, because I mean, just by the quick demo you gave me, I mean, I had a flood. I mean, I can do electrical schematics, I can do hydraulic schematics, I can do air brakes. I mean, I
Right.
can do a whole slew. I mean, given the flexibility, which it seems like you're there, but you're quite not there yet. But if that flexibility was there, it's like, hey, that's a game changer right there.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I'd love to talk to you separately about some of these things so we can get an idea of, you know, because we also even talk to people who teach chemistry and other sciences that, you know, being able to rotate an object and see how the molecules interact and how the atoms bond and all of these things are also very useful for them. We just haven't, you know, we focused on sort of what we're doing specific to core spatial skills, but moving it into different disciplines and domains is extremely interesting to us. So definitely send me an email and we can connect that way. So.
Definitely. As soon as I get your contact information, trust me.
Okay, good.
We'll share your contact information with them, Lily. This is Monica.
Yeah.
Just to be to follow the agenda, I'll let Rashawn introduce our next speaker, and then the questions that we're getting on the chat, Lily, I'll send them to you as well via email.
I can respond to them right now for a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you, Lely. This is amazing. Through this app, I actually realized that I'm not good with 2D. I'm better in 3D. Okay, so our next guest speaker is Laurie Byrne. She's an account executive with Tooling U SME. Some of you probably have already heard about this organization. They have online learning, and I'm very grateful and appreciative that Tooling U has offered K through 16 educators trial access for 90 days to their suite of 500 manufacturing-focused online classes. So the goal is really to give all of you educators to try out their classes to see if you might be able to incorporate them into your classroom. So without further ado, I'm going to let Laurie introduce herself. Laurie.
Hi, thank you, Rushin. Can everybody hear me and see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
All right, wonderful. So I just want to take a few minutes to give you kind of a quick overview of who we are at Tooling U, you know, and how we work with local high schools and colleges across the country, in California and across the country. We have been working providing online manufacturing content probably for about 18 years. So what started in industry with the founder of our company transitioned quickly to the education format as well. So we work with a lot of high schools and colleges that are utilizing our online content for their machining, their welding, their industrial maintenance, so a variety of your manufacturing programs. Just to give you and Tooling U online courses have always been used in a hybrid manner. So the instructors were in the classroom, were in the shop with their students and supplementing the great things they're doing in the classroom with our online lessons. So, you know, never meant to replace the instructor or the classroom. But we have, you know, in the last 6 or 8 weeks, we've heard from a lot of schools that have needed to up their online content formats. So we've been working with a lot of additional schools all over the country. If you see our targeted areas, so we have foundational classes, machining, maintenance, robotics, welding, additives, smart manufacturing. We just added a brand new smart manufacturing department. We're fortunate to get a grant from the Department of Defense. So we're creating some smart manufacturing and some additional additive manufacturing courses. And the goal for early 2021 is to have some AR and VR capabilities with our classes. We've got composite classes, assembly, design and engineering, and supervisory and leadership. So that's just kind of a sample of the broad range of online content we offer. This is kind of a sample here on the screen of the turnkey pathways for maintenance, and we can share all these pathways. You know, another time if you need additional information, I'm happy to send these to anyone. And share it shows the number of those numbers are how many tooling new classes are in those various pathways. One thing that we're really proud of is, we worked with NIMS this past, probably over a year ago, to create our NIMS Fast Track program. So all our courses are aligned with NIMS, they're aligned with AWS credentials. This summer, we'll be aligning with NIMS is revamping their industrial maintenance, and it's going to be called industrial technology maintenance. So we'll be mapping to that as well. And then of course we have our own SME additive certification and our CMFGT as well. So when schools and instructors utilize tooling new courses, the one thing that is really nice that comes with it is our Learning Management Center. And that's where you go to assign your classes to your students. And in a second, I'm going to give you a little glimpse of that. That's how you go to, we work with instructors to assign the courses that you need your students to take that are going to match the learning objectives and goals of your class and your programs. So this management center is where you go to track your students' progress, see how they did. Every course has a pre-test, has your lessons, and then has a final exam or a post-test. So this is where you can track all of their progress, see how they're doing on all of the online classes they're taking. And this is just a sample, and I'm just going to go through here quickly because we can always do individual demos for individual instructors or schools or teacher groups. But this is a sample of a completed classes report. So this would show all the students in a particular class and how many tooling new classes they completed. We also strongly suggest that our instructors utilize what we call they have administrator accounts. They're able to create custom programs. So if it's a welding program and they have welding level 1 and welding level 2, they can create 2 different custom programs for each of those groups of students. And lastly, our client success team. So we wouldn't be anywhere without our client success team. Every instructor, every school is assigned a client success manager, and they're gonna walk you through every step of getting your classes assigned, monitoring your students. They keep track of you. They're always setting up account reviews, sharing different reports with you to show you how you can use various reports. So we never just kind of throw you on the system and tell you to have fun. We're with you there, helping you every step of the way. So what I'm going to do is switch screens and take you into just show you a quick glimpse of a class. And I think I need to stop sharing in order to get to my other screen. Let's see. Where did it go? There we go. So this is a sample of if this was a student schedule, and your students, this is a demo account, so there's a lot of classes in here, but don't get too caught up on that. But if you look at, whoops, the wrong way. If you look at the schedule here, this is the student schedule of classes. Over here on the right under resources, I'm not going to click on it because it does take a little while to open, but there's various videos that are related to the classes that they're aligned with. So that's a little extra something for your students that they can always click on. But if I go into a class, each class always has the same format. There's an overview. There's a pretest required that they need to do the pretest before they can take the class. There's always the number of lessons, the description. The difficulty levels are beginner, intermediate, advanced, follows basically 100, 200, and 300. The class outline and your class objectives. So that's kind of how every course always starts. And I'm going to take it to a different course. So if we go on here, we're going to start, wait, this one. You need to get to a class. I already did the pretest. So this is a sample of how the class starts out. There are various interactive videos in, throughout the class. There's this one probably, I think it said it had 16 lessons. So the student needs to make sure that they go through each one of these lessons. And as some of them have multiple screens. So, you know, as they go through here and then they get to the end and they'll do the final exam, there are these interactive activities throughout the courses. This is a dragon, so I'm just not really looking at the real answers, but this is a sample of the interactive activities within the class. So this is just, you know, to give you a quick idea of what the classes involve, you know, what kind of an individual class looks like. I think we have a few minutes, so I'm going, if there's, are there any questions? What I'm going to do is log out of this student account and show you quickly the administrator account, just kind of show you a couple of things in there so you kind of see what it's capable of. But if there's any questions about the classes so far or anything I've said.
Lori, thank you so much. We do have a couple of questions in
Sure.
the group chat. So I'm going to look at this one from Mary. So Mary is from the California Department of Education. She's the CT lead for manufacturing and engineering. Her question was, does your company offer a discount to small school districts, K to 12?
So our high school pricing actually is pretty much already discounted. It's our lowest pricing. Knowing that we're, you know, we're a nonprofit, our goal is to get our manufacturing content out there, you know, for as many students as possible. So because of that, you know, we can always talk about pricing on the side, but that is one of our lowest pricing. And we can work within each individual school to make it work for them.
Thank you. And also, Mary, we mentioned before that Tooling U, they're actually offering 90 days of free access for educators. So maybe they could take advantage of that and see if that actually would help with the incorporation into their curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. And I was going to mention about that. So there is a Google Docs going around. If you get that, you put your email address on there and we'll make sure we get that trial account set up for you. If for some reason you don't see that, as long as somebody gets me your name and your email address, we can get those accounts set up. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of show you a couple of things that are really nice about our administrative center for our instructors. So what I'm going to do is show you really quickly an individual student report. And I know we're probably running short on time, so I'll try to go through here quickly. This is an individual student report. You can always pull this on any one of your students. These numbers are in a demo account, so don't get too caught up on the numbers, but you see their total time spent in class and their total time spent in tests. You're able to see their average pre-test score and their average final exam score. And of course, that should be the final exam score should be higher. That's for your individual student. You're able to see your company average score. That's actually anyone in your school. We call it our company average score. And then the Tooling U average scores is anybody taking classes within Tooling U. So it could be industry, education, nonprofit organization. So it's a way for you to see how that student compares to their peers. We also show their login history, their class progress. If it says print certificate shaded gray, that means that they passed the course based on what you decided was the passing level. So when they get to the final exam, they have, before they do that, we work with the instructor and what do you want their passing grade to be on each one of those post tests? Do you want it to be 70%, 75%? So that's always determined by the school and the instructor. And then you can see their scores. Keep going down here, you see their scores. You can always get a recap here and pull up one of their exams. And this is going to tell you which classes, you know, which questions they got right and which questions they got wrong on that. Going a little slow. And then you get after the scores, you get their class goals. So that's if you've put due dates in there. So that's just a quick sample of the individual student report. And like I said, when you work down here, I'm not going to really go into this because I see that, you know, it's almost 7 o'clock, almost 4 o'clock for you guys. The student permissions, that's where we'll work with you. These are all determined by the school and the instructor and what you want their passing scores to be on the final exam, how many attempts you want to give them at the final exam. So that's all determined by the student. And like I say, there are over 500 courses in our catalog. The courses that the students take is determined by the school. If you've got a syllabus and you want to send us your syllabus or your learning objectives, we can map the courses to that to kind of help you choose the courses you want your students to take. And they can take Tooling U on a desktop, on a laptop. It's also supported with an app on Android and iPhone. So that's kind of my quick 10-15 minute overview. Are there any other questions that I can help with?
Okay, so silence means no.
Thank you, Lori.
You're welcome. Thank you all for having me. I'm going to stop sharing now.
Laurie,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. I know it's 7 p.m. over there.
No problem.
Thank you. So everyone, we will please send your questions to us, and then we will also follow up with an email of all the resources that we have been collecting and information of the guest speakers. So we are going to close this meeting very soon. The next meeting that we are going to have is going to be on Wednesday, June 17. All of you are welcome to join, and just wanted to give you guys a quick highlight of what's going to be on the topic is based on the survey that we have sent out. So as long as you guys fill out the survey, we're going to try our best to cater to all of your needs. So for next week, we might have welding as one topic and also students' perspective. We have been able to find a few students, and one particularly from Poway Unified School District, who will actually be on the line to give us some, her perspective of how she finds this distance learning journey. And then hopefully next month we might be able to find an industry to speak. So it all depends on the survey that we get. And before I hand it off to Monica to close us, just wanted you guys to please look at the Google form link that I'm going to send out. And if you're interested in Tooling U, make sure that you put in your information, and then Laurie can follow up and give you a trial account. Okay, Monica.
Hi, everyone. Just to finish the meeting, thank you so much for joining our first virtual meeting. Like Rushan said, if you could fill out the survey, as of today, we have 9 submissions from both high school and community college teachers. A lot of the interest is around, like Rushan said, welding. We have some interest for automotive, electronic, architecture, and engineering related firms, aerospace. So we will try to work on the agenda based on your feedback. So I know we sound like a broken record, but if you could help us with the survey, then that way we can create better content in the following months. And I'm just gonna do a poll really, really fast for you guys. We wanna make sure that you guys are okay with meeting monthly. If you guys want weekly or bi-weekly, just let us know right now through the polling. And if this time works for everyone, if you could just do the poll right now, and I'll leave it there for like another minute. Thank you all very much, and looking forward to the next session.
Monica, where do we find the recording?
Oh, we'll send it with the email, the follow-up email, where we'll send Lily's contact, Lori's contact, the recording, and the next meeting invitation. Yes, we'll email it to everyone who put their name in the chat.
Monica,
Yes.
how long will the survey be on?
I'm sorry?
How long will the survey be available?
Oh, we're gonna leave the survey on. We plan to have these meetings the time that it's necessary. We actually wanna have a larger professional development for manufacturing week in October. So we'll have one meeting every month or every 2 weeks, depending on what you guys want. So the survey will be there to help us create the content for these meetings.
Okay, thank you.
And it'll take you less than 5 minutes to complete. Any other questions before we close? I think we're good.
Monica,
Thank you so much, Laura. Oh, yes.
it's Mary Gallard from the CDE. One of the things I plan to do is to send your survey to the California Industrial Technology Education Association and ask them to push it out to their membership. So I would also, is it okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
And I will also send this link so that to invite the teachers to participate. So this would be teachers in manufacturing, transportation, and energy.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much, Mary. We really want to invite more industry. This was the first one, and Rashawn really want to work for all the educators, and whatever your needs are, bring those to you guys via these virtual forums.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much for
Bye.
organizing this. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to end the meeting right now in 3, 2, 1.
Monica,
Yeah.
did you save the chat?
Yes, like a million times.
Okay, do you want me to save?
But when my computer froze, it erased the first part of the meeting. So if you could send me that one, that would be awesome. So I could just put them together.
Sure, I'm gonna save it one more time too. I just saved it again.
Thank you so much. My internet, I was so stressed, but I'm glad everything worked out.
Yes, good job, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heather, for taking notes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right, let me, bye.
Bye, Randy. See you.
Bye,
Bye.
Randy. Okay, I'm closing it. Bye.